What's up, everybody? Back here with another video, and today I'm going to be introducing a brand new series. So in the past few years I've done quite a bit of fishing and had quite a few good days and quite a few really bad days. So I thought it would be fun to kind of introduce a series giving you some of my fishing stories. This particular story that I'm going to introduce to you today is not one of my fondest memories, but when I look back, I've grown a lot as a fisherman since that point. So it was kind of a low point, and ever since, I feel like technically and maybe mentally, I've become a better fisherman because of it. So this is a pretty big throwback. I think this occurred in 2017. I was fishing a high school tournament. I think it might have been one of my first two or three tournaments. It was at a local lake of ours, super deep lake, lots of floating docks. And when I say floating docks, I don't mean docks floating over 8 to 15 feet. I'm talking about docks floating over 150 feet. This lake is pretty traditionally tough, and at the time I was an incredibly novice fisherman. We'll get to that in a little bit, and it kind of explains some of my mistakes. But I was very novice, not very skillful, and struggled in several capacities when it came to bass fishing. So if I remember correctly, it was just an open tournament. It wasn't like a qualifier for anything big like state or anything like that. It was just a qualifier tournament just for fun, held by an Elite Series pro who is native to my surrounding area. And if I remember correctly, there was like a huge fog delay, and it was so cold outside. And this was before I had proper, rain gear, weather gear, cold gear, because the worst thing ever is to be cold on the water because you're not going to fish well and you're going to be miserable the whole time. And this was before I knew that fact. So I remember sitting in the boat, totally static, not moving whatsoever. I think the fog delay was like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I was coming off of maybe 3 hours of sleep, because I was all juiced up, ready to go for the tournament and getting everything rigged up the night before. So I was just sitting there, laid back, absolutely freezing my tail off. We were just hanging out next to a dock right before we took off. All the boats, everybody's, well, when are we going to start this thing? When are we going to start this thing? I was wondering the same thing because I needed to get up and move or I was going to freeze to death. I may have even fell asleep. It's possible. Either I was going into hypothermia-induced sleep or regular sleep. One of the two, but something funky happened at the beginning of the day. But apart from that, the fog finally kind of dissipated and we were ready to go. Now, like I said earlier, at this tournament I was not a particularly skilled fisherman technically, so not a great bait caster. Caster? Is that the best way to put that? I could not cast a bait caster well. Let's put it that way. I could make it happen overhand cast right-handed, but I had not yet learned to cast left-handed and roll cast or skip. And roll casting and skipping are two things that are vital to your success at this lake. So I spent most of the day with a spinning rod in my hands, which of course is totally fine. But I spent a lot of the day with a spinning rod in my hands. So we started the day and we just made a super short run, kind of fished an area close to the launch. This whole lake gets absolutely hammered, but this spot gets especially hammered. And we start pitching weightless worms around these docks and just kind of letting them slow fall down, looking for suspended spotted bass or Kentucky bass as we call them, chilling out on the docks. And at the time, this was not something I'd ever done. I never skipped a weightless worm up under a dock with a spin rod, so it's kind of cool. I was using my fishing partner. Shout out to you, Aaron. That's my buddy. That's my high school fishing partner. We've had many great days on the water. We were skipping these worms up. I was using his, I think it was a 6-foot medium action spinning rod, which was absolutely perfect for skipping those worms up under the docks. I'm so happy he let me use them. I was freaking skipping them as far as I possibly could, and I was impressed with myself at the day. I was getting a little cocky, I was getting them worms way up under there, and I started getting bit. So we got a couple bites to start the day. I think I boated one across the board. They have to be 12 inches in this particular lake. I caught one, maybe it was like 10 and a half. We got a couple bites, a couple small followers, a couple small ones in the boat. We were like, okay, we might have a little pattern going on here. Skip them up under the docks. And for some reason in particular, it was skipping them up underneath a pontoon. I don't know, maybe the extra shade or extra warmth from the pontoon circles. That's a nice little hand movement I made there. And skipping up underneath the pontoons and we'd get bit. I think Aaron was throwing a spinnerbait. He was looking for a bigger bite. He was getting some smacks on his blades and things like that. But I was sticking to pitching that worm as far as I could up underneath them docks because the sun was up. It was hot. No, it was not hot. The sun was just up, so I figured it would push him up under the docks. It did get a little warmer, obviously, as the sun rose and the mist dissipated. But I'm telling you, before all that happened, before the sun got up, I was freezing my butt off. But that's besides the point. So we make a run and we fish for several hours. I don't know if we caught I know we didn't catch a keeper in that span of hours. I don't even know. I don't recall catching a fish at all. So we're like, well, dang, that kind of sucks. We started off pretty good and things kind of got crappy all of a sudden. And that fog delay, delayed the tournament quite a while. I think it's kind of blurry. They may have extended our check-in time. I don't recall. But this lake has a multiplicity of freaking no wake zones. So you need to get to your spot and you have to kind of fish it if you're going deep into the no wake zone because it's to a point of no return. If you go 45 minutes into a no wake zone, you're going to have to take 45 minutes to get out of the no wake zone. So you best be finding your fish when you're in the zone. So it's coming up late, in the tournament. We're not doing so hot, and we roll up on this one particular dock, and I skip up under a cable that's connecting the dock to the bank, and I hook like a 2.5 pound spot, which is a super solid fish. If you catch 5 2.5 pounders at this lake, especially in a high school tournament, maybe not in an adult tournament, but you would stand a chance of coming in the top 3 or winning. So, 10 pounds would win, and you'll find out soon enough that 10 pounds definitely would have won this tournament. So I skip up under the dock, and I hook like a 2.5 pound spot. Sweet. Start fighting it to the boat, and like I said, I'm inexperienced. I'm not using the drag properly. I'm horsing the fish, and we get the fish, and I think I skipped over, like my worm hit the water and took off and went over a cable. So I was over top of the cable. So when I hooked the fish, I had to get him up over the cable, and so he's dangling there in the air, a 2.5 pounder just waiting to fall off. And I start horsing them like on spinning gear, 10-pound line I think at the most. And everybody's like, don't do that. And I continued to do it, and it fell off. Shoot. So that kind of hurt. Definitely a keeper. Definitely over 2 inches. It was over 2 inches. Definitely over 12 inches. So that's keeper number 1 that I lost. And then we roll around to the front of the dock, and I skip in there, work it out, and one slams it right next to the boat. And I hit him like he owed me something, like he disrespected my family or something. I hit that fish so hard and pulled it out of his mouth. It's not a giant hook. You don't need to, a wacky rig hook, it's not giant. You don't need to drill them, especially on spinning gear. Lost that fish, missed that fish. I saw him flash. It was not as big as the previous one, but at least a 12 inch or so, another keeper. So that's keeper number 2 I lost. Getting pretty brutal. Okay, and on to the next one. Now this third one I don't recall too well. I just know that at some point I lost another keeper. I don't know. Yeah, I do remember now. It's coming to me. We were fighting him, and he came off next to the boat before we could get him in the net. That's what happened. So, that's an acceptable loss, I suppose. That kind of crap happens. But that was the third keeper I lost. This is kind of embarrassing, but like I said, I've grown since that point. All right, keeper number 4. So, at this point, morale is low for me, and I'm sure for my captain and for my boat partner. Because Aaron's still looking for a big bite, pitching the spinnerbait, which is, he's good with the spinnerbait. He catches good fish on it. And I'm still working the slow game. And I pitched deep up in there, and all these docks have these cross beams, kind of going all the way to the back, all the way to the front. You got to be wary of. And at the time, I was not considering all the extraneous factors. So I hook one, and it is an RLI. It is a certified, rather large individual. Never saw this fish surface, but it got me tangled up in one of them cross beams that go up under the dock, and I horsed him, I horsed him. I was like, come out, and I obviously didn't get him out and proceeded to break him off. Break him off above the knot. So my knot was fine. The knot wasn't really the issue. I just serrated my line. The Joker broke me off, and the way he was tugging, wasn't a giant, but for that lake, I think a 3-pounder's, that's probably gonna get you big fish, especially that day. I'll get to that in a moment, but broke him off, and that sucked. So at this point, we're just kind of coasting. We've got couple minutes left to fish. They were all, spot school up on docks, so we missed our school because yours truly, John Tyler here, proceeded or chose to. I did it so consistently, losing fish that day, that it was almost as if I wanted to do it, but I can assure you I did not. So, we missed our school. Shoot. Screwed that tournament up for us. Okay. But Aaron flips a spinnerbait in there, and he hooks it was a solid fish, a 2-pound largemouth. He gets it in the boat. He knows how to land fish. And I'm like, sweet, bro. We got that one in the boat. And at this point in the day, we are out of time. Yeah, we're out of time. I'm pissed. That kind of crap. And it happened. Probably my worst tournament performance individually ever. I didn't get hung up a lot, but that wasn't a factor. It was the fact I lost all our fish. We get to the weigh-in station. We weigh the fish in, we just want to weigh it in because, like I said, this lake's tough, and shockingly enough, a 2-pounder on particular days can make something happen. It didn't that day, but I think the winning bag was 6.6. Somewhere between 6 and 7 pounds. I don't know if it was a bag. It sounds a lot like 3 fish to me. Needless to say, we were a bit perturbed, so we didn't look into the details. But once we heard that 6.6 number, it just kind of hurt because we had at least 9 pounds for 5 fish. At least 9 pounds. 8 pounds. It doesn't matter. We had at least 9 pounds. Between 9 and 11 pounds. We would have won that tournament outright. We had the bites to do it. Everybody had an awful day, It wouldn't have been exactly like a, wow, we really wrecked them. Got 11 pounds, 9 pounds. But a win is a win, and we had it in our hands. I had it in my hands with the extension of the rod. Had it on the end of the pole, and didn't put them in the boat, man. Didn't put them in the boat. But we look back on that story, me and Aaron, and we kind of laugh about it. We're like, man, that was the day when I choked, and I choked hard. Looking back now, I've improved my casting. I've learned how to fight fish. I've learned to chill out when you hook a fish, not freak out like everything's a giant. Play the fish, get them in the boat, take care of business, and then if you get the right bites, you win the tournament. And we had the right bites, and I just didn't take care of business. As simple as that. And so I did learn a lot from that day. We bounced back in the next season. We bounced back, and we'll get to that. I'll get to those stories soon enough. But we bounced back in a pretty big way, and I really think we as a team improved as fishermen, and I especially know I improved as a fisherman. I kind of felt bad, to be honest with you, because I kind of messed up our chance of winning that tournament, but everybody's got those days as fishermen. You got to battle through those. It's just kind of a life lesson. You're always going to have a bottom day, but if you persist and you persevere, you'll come out on top eventually. And that's what happened, and we'll be getting into that story soon enough. All right, guys, so that is, I think I covered every little minute detail. That is the story of the tournament that I kind of botched. Not a fond memory, but looking back, I've grown, like I said, from it. So hope you guys found some type of enjoyment out of that. I kind of had enjoyment. I got a couple laughs. You saw my facial expressions. But apart from that, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video, just kind of letting me talk, off, no script, no really game plan, just recall from memory. Make sure to go down low and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. I think I can fit the button right there. We'll see. And you still can't comment on my videos. That is yet to change, so don't have to worry about doing that as much as I would like to hear from you. Maybe hear from your stories, because I'm sure some of you guys have had comparable days. I can't, because YouTube won't allow comments on my videos. Still. Alright, guys. Apart from that, I want everybody to have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and be ready for the next upload. Hope you guys have a great day.